Welcome into a Friday edition. It's Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton, and did not think this through. Look at the screen. Oops. So there you go.
We're a little busy.
Yeah, can't. All right, we'll figure that out later. We'll figure that part out later.
Trial and error.
Mo, what's going on, man?
Not much. It's Friday. It's windy Friday.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the huge oak tree just moving, and if that tree's moving, we're in trouble.
So I came in. I didn't come across Iron Bridge. I turned at Mount Olivet, maybe off of Bear Creek. Came around, came down. I'm at the corner of Tom J. Hitch and Iron Bridge, and that traffic light was just swinging.
Every traffic light.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Has been insane. Matter of fact, the traffic light at 10 Pin Alley when I was coming in, it was flashing yellow, but all I saw was yellow. So I slowed down thinking it was turning yellow to red. And then it flashed again, and then this car swerved around me and kept going. I was like, crap, my bad. I was trying to make sure that, I didn't run a red light.
Yeah.
There's no more helpless feeling than when wind moves your car.
No, there is not.
There's nothing you can do.
When the wind just lifts you up and
whoa.
That's a true Jesus take the wheel kind of situation right there.
Very humbling.
Goodness gracious.
It is humbling. That is correct.
Yeah.
So
every school system was out today except Metro Nashville.
Wow.
Yeah. Folks none too happy about that one. And it was funny because I saw some people making fun of school being out on Facebook, and I'm like, it's all fun and games till your kid's bus gets blown over.
Yeah, it's not about them being at school. It's about them being on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you got to be careful with. It's the road issue, not inside the school building
issue. No,
they probably are pretty safe in the school. They can
depending on what school it is.
They can get to a place, but I mean, today is the 3rd anniversary of the tornado that hit Nashville that COVID basically made everyone forget about.
Mm-hmm.
So. Thanks for retweeting that earlier, Justin. I do want to send my thoughts out to those folks because I know several people who were impacted by that, especially in the Donaldson area, but also in East Nashville, where a girl whose business was destroyed by that tornado. She lived in Spring Hill and basically took her business to Franklin after that, and once she did, let's just say that her clientele
did not follow.
No, it changed drastically for the good. She's
That's great.
She's now making soaps and candles for the stars.
Okay.
Basically, she doesn't have she doesn't even have a storefront anymore. She's just taking private orders at this point. So it worked out really well for her, and I hope that everyone who was impacted has
a similar experience.
Because
had a glow up.
It really was pretty cool to watch. That kind of evolve.
Yeah.
And so hopefully everyone else had the similar experience exactly. But if not, honestly, I didn't forget about you.
Yeah, I think you're really accurate at the fact that it was overshadowed. Obviously, just because the national pandemic, but at the same time, this was huge. Huge.
I can remember writing stories about folks passing out barbecue to first responders who were on the scene and to those who were helping with cleanup. And then literally 2 weeks later, we're, talking about the first death in Murray County from COVID. And it was almost as devastating for the tornado to be overshadowed by COVID because there was no rebuild. Right. There was no chance to rebuild because we all had to go home and stay home for a while. And some people didn't have homes to go to.
Right.
And it's just brutal.
People had to think, and it's like you almost had to think about just yourself at that point, or people, the government was like, figure out your own thing.
Yeah. You kind of
didn't have anything to do with
to think for yourself. You can't go out and help folks because you might hurt them by trying to help, who knew? But anyway, our thoughts are with you guys, and hopefully things are much better than they were 3 years ago, but we didn't forget about you. And we are still thinking about you today. We have a great show lined up. Bruce SLATTEN is scheduled to join us from the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee, or better known as BCAT. Also, NUBYJAS WILBORN will talk with us as Tennessee heads down to Neville Arena this weekend to take on the Auburn Tigers. Will it be a defensive slugfest and offensive snoozer like it was in Thompson Bowling? Well, we'll talk to NUBYJAS and see what they're thinking after their.
I can guarantee you this: that segment will not be a snoozer.
No, it will not. It never is. And so we'll talk SEC women's basketball. Obviously, Tennessee and Kentucky take the floor tonight. We'll also get into what Nick Saban had to say about potential scheduling. He's not happy, to say the least.
Is he ever?
Yeah.
Give yourself a ding.
No, he's not. There you go. Conference USA made an announcement, not an announcement. Sources have told Stadium of an impending announcement.
Brett McMichael, right?
Brett McMurphy.
McMurphy. I'm
Brett
sorry.
McMichael.
Who is that? Is that a wrestler?
Yes.
I was just about to say, I think it's a wrestler.
Steve McMichael was the Bears linebacker,
right? Yeah.
Wrestler.
My bad.
I knew what you were getting at.
Thank you,
Brett McMurphy. And he says there's an impending announcement that Conference USA will have a scheduling pact or agreement with another conference. We'll tell you who that is later in the show as well. So all of that and much, much more, but we got to get you results and schedules. And that's why we go to, and Justin, don't be mad at me because I didn't make the change, but
you're Gucci.
There you go. Today's rundown.
This is the rundown.
The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
Girls basketball action yesterday at the state tournament. Middle Tennessee Christian advances to the state finals with a 63-59 win over CAK. In boys action, all of these teams are still alive. This is the region finals. That means both of these teams are still alive and will play Monday. I assume all the games are Monday. I don't know that for a fact. Blackman edges Laverne 44-43. Good. Oh, no. Good Pasture and Clarksville Academy played in the D2 state semifinals yesterday as well. Good Pasture did win 48-47. Sorry about that. Rossview 84, Dixon County 47, Giles County 61-41 winners over host Fairview. Hendersonville 42, Green Hill 37. And that means the Commandos will take on Hillsboro, who fell at home to Independence 54-50. Independence will host Green Hill in the sectionals. Martin Luther King down Murfreesboro Central 57-44. It's Pearl Cone 86. Flip it for Cascade 68. East Robertson 47, edging Pickett County, who scored just 43. And York Institute with a 63-45 win over Watertown.
In men's basketball action on Thursday night, North Texas with a 64-50 win over Middle Tennessee State. Kennesaw State with an 80-71 win over Lipscomb, and SEMO ended Tennessee State's season with a 91-83 win in Ohio Valley Conference tournament play. In women's action, it was Middle Tennessee State with a 72-45 win over North Texas. Belmont defeated Illinois Chicago 81-56, and in today's action at the TCCAA tournament over at Roane State, Volunteer State eliminated Columbia State with a 53-49 win. On the ice, we
got to stop doing this.
Unidentifiable Nashville PREDS with a 2-1 win at Florida. So maybe they need to trade some more folks.
And I think they're gonna.
I don't know. They ain't got a whole lot of time.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Today's schedule. There's already been a game played up at Tennessee Tech, and that was
it's a 12 noon start. Is it over?
Knoxville Catholic with a 56-46 win over Harpeth Hall, ending Harpeth Hall's historic run to Tennessee Tech in the state tournament. NBA and Briarcrest playing right now. At halftime, Briarcrest leads the Big Red 23-12. Girls basketball action later this afternoon. Ensworth takes on Briarcrest, and the boys in the nightcap, Brentwood Academy and Knoxville Webb. Tomorrow, girls sectionals, Class 2A. Gibson County's at Loretto at 7 o'clock. All of these games at 7. Summertown travels to Martin Westview. East Nashville is at York Institute. Class 3A, South Gibson goes to Creekwood, and Murfreesboro Central is at Jackson Southside. Class 4A, Dixon County goes to Bartlett. Blackman hosts Cleveland. Stewart's Creek is at Bradley Central, and Green Hill travels to Brentwood. Whitehaven is at Clarksville, and Hillsboro is at Cookville. D2 state championships. It'll be Class A, Webb School taking on Middle Tennessee Christian tomorrow at 11 a.m. Notre Dame will take on Good Pasture in the boys game at 1:30, and then the girls Class 2A at 4 o'clock, the boys championship at 6:30.
Men's basketball action this weekend at 1 o'clock tomorrow over at Roane State. Cleveland State and Ball State play in an opening round game. Missouri Valley Conference tournament action. Wait a minute. Was that tomorrow or is that today, Chris?
That is today, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. It is today at 2 o'clock. So
today,
2 o'clock Eastern.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So they should be playing now.
Yes.
Cleveland State and Ball State are playing at Roane State as we speak. Okay. At 2:30 today, Indiana State plays Belmont in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament.
In Arch Madness.
Arch Madness.
I love it.
No, guess where they're playing, y'all? That can be seen on ESPN Plus. Saturday, men's college basketball. Tennessee's at Auburn. That's a 1 o'clock tip on ESPN. Also on ESPN Plus at 1 o'clock. Middle Tennessee State is at Texas El Paso at 7:30 on the SEC network. Mississippi State is at Memorial Gym against the Commodores. Fortunately for the Bulldogs, Shane Foster ain't walking through that door. In MVC tournament action.
This is if Belmont wins, they will play the 2:30 game.
Okay, if Belmont wins today, they will play at 2:30. Do we know who against?
No, both of those games are today.
Okay.
Probably Bradley, though, since they're the top seed.
Most likely. That's a 2:30 tip. It's on CBS Sports Network. On Sunday, over at Roane State, Columbia State takes on the winner of the Ball State Cleveland State game that's ongoing. That's an 11 o'clock start at Roane. And the Missouri Valley Conference Championship is at 1 o'clock. That can be seen on CBS. Women's basketball action this weekend in the SEC tournament over at Greenville, North Carolina. Kentucky and Tennessee play at 7 tonight. That game can be seen on the SEC network. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock on ESPN3, you've got Belmont and Valpo. At 2 o'clock on ESPN Plus, you've got UTEP at Middle Tennessee State. And at 6 o'clock on ESPNU, you've got the semifinals of the SEC tournament. First game is at 6. Second game will follow. Sunday, SEC championship game is at 1 o'clock on ESPN2. They will call it Champ Day. Please don't. Hate that phrase.
That's weird.
Champ. Yeah, Champ.
I've never heard that. So.
Oh, they do it all the time on ESPN. It's Champ Week.
Yes, it is Champ Week. You're
not
right.
Championship Week. Champ Week.
Like what?
It's a bunch of millennials in charge. They're shortening everything
because they have tight sketch.
Hey,
thanks, Justin.
I hate you. I hate you.
IDK my BFF Mo.
Finish it up.
Baseball action this weekend. Weekend series at Tennessee. Gonzaga comes to town. Austin Peay is at number 12 ranked Oklahoma State. Middle Tennessee State welcomes Toledo. That'll start tomorrow with a doubleheader and finish on Sunday. Belmont has pushed their start time today to 6 o'clock. You said, Mo, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll take on Kansas in a 3-game set this weekend. Lipscomb is down on the plains at Auburn. Trevecca welcoming Illinois. Springfield and Cumberland will be at Georgetown College, while UT Southern goes to Shawnee State. In the Cambria College Classic at US Bank Stadium, yes, you heard me, that is correct. You can watch them on Big Ten Network Plus if you have it. Vanderbilt takes on Nebraska. That was today at 11 a.m. I don't know the results of that. Vanderbilt will take on Maryland at 11 a.m. tomorrow, and on Sunday they'll get the final game against the host Golden Gophers of Minnesota at 6 p.m. Junior college baseball action. Vol State's at Chattanooga. They will play an 11 a.m. doubleheader tomorrow, and at 1 o'clock right here in Columbia, Roan State comes to town to take on the host Chargers, also a doubleheader.
Nebraska 5, Vanderbilt 3.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Marin Angus Combs probably.
She's a little torn, I would think.
Probably struggling with that.
Yeah, no doubt. Speaking of Marin Angus Combs, college softball this weekend. UT Southern is in a weekend series up at Georgetown, Kentucky. Not Georgetown, D.C.
Very important.
The Lady Vols Classic in Knoxville. Belmont plays Jacksonville State at 3:30 today, followed by Appalachian State and Tennessee at 6. That game can be seen on the SEC Network Plus. Saturday, App State and Belmont in a doubleheader beginning at 9, followed by Jacksonville State, stay cocky, and the host Lady Vols in a 2 p.m. doubleheader on SEC Network Plus. On Sunday, Belmont and Tennessee in a 1:30 doubleheader. That's on SEC Network Plus.
If Tennessee's playing, it's on.
There we go.
If they're not, it's not.
Yeah. So hopefully you can tune in when your team plays Tennessee, unless your team is Tennessee.
And then you can watch your team all the time.
There you go. Austin Peay is at the Western Kentucky Spring Fling. MTSU is at the Spring Games, the capital T, the Spring Games at Madeira Beach, Florida. Providence, Youngstown State, and St. Louis are playing at Lipscomb in the Purple Gold Challenge. In junior college action, Roan State is at Columbia State for 2 games today. They just started, and 2 games tomorrow beginning at noon. In the association, the Grizzlies travel to Denver for a 9 o'clock tip on Saturday on ESPN. And on Sunday on the ice, the Predators are at Chicago taking on the Blackhawks. That's a 7 o'clock puck drop on Valley Sports South. And that is your rundown.
Mo, a couple top stories to get to real quick. Number 1, we mentioned it last week. Janae Edmondson, who a volleyball player at Smyrna High School, who's involved in a tragic accident up in Louisville during a AAU volleyball tournament.
Well, she was at an AAU volleyball tournament.
Yes.
This didn't happen.
The accident didn't happen there. She was there. The accident happened while they were in Louisville.
St. Louis.
St. Louis, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Louis. I was half right.
You were close.
Anyway,
So close.
Janae was involved in that tragic accident. Obviously, she, I believe she had both legs amputated due to the accident. And we mentioned that last week there was a GoFundMe. I still think that's available. Not entirely sure, but there is also, Mo, a fundraiser this weekend.
They are a drive-by donations event is being held from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow at Smyrna High School, with all proceeds going to help Janae Edmondson, in her recovery from, this situation. She has again had both legs amputated, and I'm sure that there are more procedures that will follow. So, if you're in the area, or if you're not in the area, but you have a mind to help, they will be accepting donations. Again, Say Hey for Janae is the drive-through fundraiser that will happen from 11 to 1 tomorrow. All proceeds go directly to the family. And there was some good news last week that we managed to not mention, despite repeated attempts to do so.
On the show, run of show forever.
Yeah, apparently prior to this event, Janae had committed to sign a college volleyball scholarship with UT Southern. UT Southern intends to honor her scholarship. And I think that's really top shelf on the part of the Firehawks program to do that. Did you find the?
On Friday, WGNS spoke with Director of Athletics Brandy Paul, who confirmed that she said that they will honor the scholarship. We're honoring the scholarship. She will be a part of the volleyball team, although we don't know what that will look like. We are honoring her scholarship, is what she said, and I think that's fantastic. I don't have the other.
That's okay.
But I do think it's pretty great. $900,000 goal, $678,000 have been raised at this point, including a $10,000 anonymous donation to the GoFundMe. So it's the GoFundMe.com/pray-for-Janae, Janae. So there you go. Justin, we mentioned it in the rundown, but I want to talk about this for just a second. You had the right one. You had that's exactly what I want to talk about. The Cambria College Classic up at US Bank Stadium. That's the configuration. At is the baseball field. Now, this isn't the first time Minnesota's had a combo baseball football field, is it?
I don't believe it is.
Metrodome, didn't they play baseball and football there at a time?
My question is, Chris, we talked about the new turf at Nissan and the ease with, of remarking it and that kind of thing. How could they not get rid of the football lines?
That's a great question.
And why would you not get rid of the football lines? I mean, I don't know that it'll necessarily, maybe it could be a little confusing. I mean, the foul line and the sideline in left field are a little off-putting, I think.
I'm no groundskeeper, but I would just feel like that'd be maybe one of the first things to go.
My problem would be an umpire and just past the infield marking there. Right. What if there's a foul ball that hits the line?
Oh, it's so close.
It's going to be impossible to tell.
Yeah, if it hits right in that thick in the sideline.
Yeah, you hit a line drive that's curling behind third base, and then it hits right there at where the infield marking and the foul line meet. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck. Yep.
And it will inevitably happen.
Your guess is as good as mine.
People are going to the hospital. So close. That's very close.
I mean,
goodness gracious.
It's going to be interesting. I love the foul poles are, just kind of makeshift. I like they just put up some arena football net holders.
I don't have a yellow pole, but I got poles and we can spray paint them.
And here's my question: Is right field, is that the wall, or like can it hit off the, or is the yellow the home run marker?
I assume that the yellow is a home run marker, but I'm spitballing. I have no idea.
Might be like a green monster type thing.
Yeah, this is nuts.
If you wouldn't told me that if you wouldn't have told me this was going, like they're trying to make this to a baseball field, I would just be like, this is a really bad angle of a football field.
we may have to try to get a hold of Tim Corbin once they get back, just to get his thoughts on this, because that's. And
if not him, I'm sure that somebody's up there calling the game on the radio.
Yeah, I think Andrew Allegretta is calling it for the Vanderbilt.
Whoever's up there, we got to find that. We got to talk to them.
Pretty.
Ole Miss is there too, by the way.
Defending national champion.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, you don't forget that.
Yeah.
I just
isn't it crazy when you think about it that the last two college baseball national champions are from
Mississippi State.
That's goodness.
It's almost unacceptable.
It really is. I mean, I wish I would take the last two national champions being from Tennessee and Vanderbilt being one of them if Tennessee was the other. I would take that.
That would be pretty sweet.
I wouldn't do.
That would be pretty sweet.
One.
I mean,
yeah.
When you're talking about baseball stadiums and baseball in general, the pitch clock situation that we've dealt with. Someone mentioned this the other day. They put up a video of an entire half inning being played while just one pitch was thrown from a game a couple years ago.
Oh,
Did you
goodness.
see this? It was side by side. They played an entire half inning in the time it took for one pitch to get thrown.
Goodness.
From a game not recently. But then they also put up a side by side of a game from like the late 80s where pitchers worked pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, listen, if you don't see the pitch clock, all it's going to do is feel like baseball was prior to 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I have that.
It's going to feel like real, like
baseball.
Nostalgic baseball. The folks who are upset about it don't realize that baseball hasn't always been a 3-hour game. I will always go back and reference that Juan Guzman, Greg Maddux 2-0. It took us longer to drive to Atlanta than it did for the game to get played. I mean, like that's what I'm excited about it. I really am. I think I'm really curious to see if when we get a chance to talk to some guys from the Nashville Sounds what they thought. But I'm excited. I think it is going to make baseball work a little bit quicker. The only thing I don't like is the pickoff rule.
That you can only go over twice?
Or you can go over the third time.
But it's a balk.
Unless you get them out.
This dude throws 3 strikes in like 5 seconds.
So you save your best move for your third move if you're going to go.
Now this is one. Who is this? Wandy. He's got a last name.
Rodriguez?
I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
He strikes this guy out in 20 seconds.
No, like legitimately, you could see the clock. Hold on.
Like actually 20 seconds.
It's the left-hand side here.
Clearly, it's a 3-pitch at bat, right?
Yes, it's 3 strikes. I mean, he's back on the mound. Now, this may be a little too quick, and I think he might be being a little bit petty with this, but it worked.
Well, hey, if you're going to make me work fast, and hey, let's go.
Hey, get in.
Get in here.
Get in the box. Let's go, buddy.
I mean, he took
awesome.
Oof. I mean, nasty pitches. So there you go.
He was dealing. He was dealing.
Oh, by the way, we have confirmed Bruce Slatton for 240.
Great. So we'll talk to Bruce here in just a few minutes. Let's take a quick break and let's come back. And because I do want to get a little bit into Tennessee, Kentucky tonight. So, and maybe Saban getting mad. So stick around. We'll be right back after this on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton here with you, and I want to talk a little bit about tonight's SEC women's basketball tournament that will feature Tennessee and Kentucky. Kentucky has gone on a bit of a roll since their final regular season meeting that included a beatdown by Tennessee.
Yeah, after Tennessee knocked them off to close the regular season on Sunday, Kentucky was one of the first four to play. They played on Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah. In the first four, basically. They were the number 14 seed, right?
They are the 14 seed. That's correct.
So they opened with a win over Florida that was marred by a bit of a brawl.
Marred, if you want to call it that.
Brawl, if you want to call it that, I guess. And then they...
I thought it was fantastic. Marred my butt. Shoot.
Captain Chaos.
Then
They defeated number 6 Alabama last night.
Yeah.
So yeah. Which, goes back to what we were saying when we had Scott Rabelais on earlier in the week. Somebody was going to come out of that game, out of that first round, and win a game. Actually, both of them did, because Texas A&M won as well.
They did. They beat Ole Miss. They're playing Ole Miss right now.
Who did they beat?
I don't know.
Auburn?
Yeah, I love how you started off.
No, because Auburn played Georgia.
You're like, they beat. Yeah, I don't know.
I was trying to think about it.
I don't have the bracket in front of me.
I don't have the bracket either, but
Mississippi State is who they beat.
There you go.
Yeah. So both of those teams that played in the opening round are playing in the quarterfinals. But again, like you said, Kentucky and Tennessee playing the nightcap tonight at 7:00 Central Time.
South Carolina wasted no time with Arkansas this morning. 93-66.
Yeah.
Ole Miss up by 16 on Texas A&M, 51-35. Georgia LSU will be at 5:00, and then at 7:00 tonight, Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee, obviously, again, we've talked about it. You got to be ready to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be ready, because just because you beat them in the regular season at their place doesn't mean anything at this point. This is Kentucky in the SEC tournament. We've seen them do crazier things.
And they won the SEC tournament last year, defeating South Carolina.
Correct.
So, this is a team that feels like it doesn't matter what happens during the regular season. This is our time. And Kyra Elsie has done a great job of getting them ready for this time of year.
They have won as many conference games in this tournament than they won all year long. Two. They have matched their conference win total in the tournament.
In 16 fewer games.
When they tell you that everybody starts back at 0, they're not kidding.
Kentucky believes it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Oh, wow. We get to pretend that didn't exist.
None of that happened.
Heck yeah. Go Big Blue.
Selective amnesia.
So there you go. That's amazing. So I think Tennessee's obviously going to have to play, really well. And I'll be interested, because we talked with Rabelais about this Georgia team. You never count out the Lady Dogs.
He seemed a bit concerned.
He did.
About this Georgia team.
And LSU right now is slated as a 2 in the NCAA tournament, as a 2 seed, despite being 27-1. But it's because all 27 wins came against unranked teams. Now, Tennessee is a 4 or 5 seed with 21 wins against unranked teams, then that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
LSU and Tennessee, in order to make any type of Tennessee needs to beat Kentucky, obviously, but they really need to play LSU and beat LSU to give themselves a chance.
Oh yeah. I mean, again,
host.
Charlie Cream was pretty specific that Tennessee needs to get at least to the SEC championship and probably needs to beat LSU in the semifinals.
Beating Georgia doesn't really help you.
Doesn't do anything.
All it is just another unranked win.
And they got plenty of those.
Yeah, we don't need any more of those.
They need to beat somebody of note, I guess, for lack of a better phrase.
Right. Moving on to the world of Nick Saban.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Dellinger put out a tweet that basically put his 3-6 method out there. The three teams that he has Alabama playing are Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU.
So Saban is reacting to Ross's 3-6, not anything of any
actual
official.
No.
Okay.
So Saban reacts and says, you know, they want to give us Alabama, or they want to give us Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU. I don't know how they come up with that. Well, I mean,
Well, Ross,
everybody's got to play
how
three.
did you come up with that, Ross?
First of all, I don't know why he cares what Ross Dellinger thinks, unless he feels like Dellinger has some sort of insight into the conference office. But secondly, boy, it's a bad look for a team that, you know, thinks of itself as a dynasty.
Well,
what happened to the big wall? No excuses. I mean,
you hit too hard.
It's and some, you know, Alabama fans clap back at Tennessee fans. Well, do you want to play Alabama, Georgia, and Florida every year? Yeah, we already do. Why does it matter? Yeah. I don't want to give that up. Instead, they want to play Mississippi State or something. Somebody gave them Vanderbilt, which was pretty funny. I don't know.
Unless you're Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think that's so funny.
Now, Tennessee in this scenario gets Vanderbilt, Alabama, and South Carolina.
And I think,
and I don't know that I'd rather have Florida than South Carolina right now.
At this moment.
Right now, at this moment, I would rather have Florida than South Carolina.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's not realistically. I mean, ideally, you'd get somebody that's a little bit more challenging, somebody that's a little bit less challenging, and then somebody that's kind of in the middle, maybe. I mean, I don't know how you necessarily strike that balance for everybody.
For 16 teams. It's almost impossible.
I mean, for, say, Missouri.
Well, who's
less challenging?
Well, Missouri, how about this? Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. I don't know why Vanderbilt and Missouri are playing each other, but hey, go figure. Arkansas gets Missouri, Texas, and Ole Miss. A&M, LSU, Texas, and Mississippi State. Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, Arkansas. Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, and Florida. Every year. Oklahoma, Florida. Now, here's the other thing. The 6 teams that you don't play each year, you will play the next year. So it's not home and home back to back. It's every other year. So if Tennessee doesn't play Georgia, they'd play Georgia in year 1, but would play them in year 3. And Georgia would be paired with, like, say, Missouri. So one year you play Georgia, the next year you play Missouri. The next time you play Georgia, the next time you play Missouri. And then it would be just like that for the other 12 teams in the league. And I think that's great.
Yeah, because, I mean, you don't have to go that long without playing everybody.
Well, you go everywhere in the conference every 4 years. everybody who comes to your program and stays for 4 years will have visited every stadium in the league. Right now, I don't think Georgia's been to College Station yet. And Texas A&M's been in the league since what, 12?
Mm-hmm.
And they've not been there yet.
That's crazy.
That doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. I mean, I don't even know how you explain that.
So this is a much better scheduling model, and I love it right here. I think Ross has got a good thought on it. I think,
and maybe that's why Nick's bothered.
Well, but you know, everybody's 3-6 that I've seen, I've not been upset with.
Mm-hmm.
Most everybody's got Tennessee with Vandy, Kentucky, and Alabama, which, you know, that's kind of unfortunate for everyone but Tennessee. But, you know, to me, the 3-6 model just makes a lot of sense, and I like it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to take our next break because Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee's Bruce Slatton will join us here in just a few moments, and he will be coming to us from Evansville, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
That's exciting. So stick around. Bruce joins us right after this. Talk a little shot clock. Sports presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yow. He's Mo Patton, and we are glad to be with you here on this Friday edition as we get you ready for the weekend of sports ahead, but also some news that came down earlier this week involving high school basketball in the state of Tennessee. The TSSAA Board of Control voted to test the idea of adding a shot clock. And the best way to test that, in their opinion, was to put it in the camps held by the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee during the summer that help coaches, players, and officials kind of get ready for the upcoming basketball season. So my first thought was, how is that going to work? Well, we know a guy who can tell us maybe what the initial thoughts are. I'm sure he's not worked it all out yet, but
I don't know. He might have worked it all out.
He may have, and that's why we've got him on right now. Bruce Slatton joins us live from Evansville, Indiana, home of the OVC tournament, and you have to OVC it.
That is correct, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming on with us, Bruce, and glad you made it in safely. We were aiming for a 2:20 start, and you said that travel was a little dicey
little bit dicey. It was high winds. A couple of semis had jackknifed and stuff. So it was, we had to slow down. I tend to drive a little fast. And so I had to go about 10 or 15 miles an hour below the speed limit for the most part. So it was dicey, to say the least.
Well, it's pretty flat between here and Evansville. And so, yeah, I can see how that could be problematic. But again, glad you made it in safely and glad you were able to clear off some time with us. What time do the Golden Eagles play tonight?
They have the midnight special tonight. They tip off at 9:30. And it's an ESPNU game. They play UT Martin, so it's got a lot of Tennessee flair to it. And so we're excited to be here, and hopefully the Golden Eagles can pull one out.
You gonna be able to get you a nap between now and then, Bruce?
I think I napped a few times on the way up here, but the wind kept waking me up.
Bruce, as Chris was saying, BCAT is going to be the guinea pig for the shot clock in the state of Tennessee. Now, is that this coming, camp sessions that y'all are going to be instituting that or?
Yes. Yeah. We, we knew that the Board of Control was going to have that on the agenda to discuss the potential of the shot clock. And so we reached out to Mark Reeves, and he invited me to come down and speak Wednesday at the Board of Control meeting, and because we really wanted to be able to try the shot clock, at least in our camps. That way it's a little bit low risk, high reward, because the coaches can kind of see what they like about it, what they don't like, and if it's something that maybe we can institute, down the road. And, I know our head coaches across the state are, roughly 70-30 in favor of the shot clock. But as, with all things, until you get it, you don't know if you really like it or not. So we're going to give it a shot and see how things go this summer.
70-30 in favor.
Correct. That was our survey that we did in the fall, just of our head coaches around the state. And I will say that we had around 325 that responded. So it was not necessarily a full gist of all of our head coaches and whatnot, but it was a good gauge for us to go by. And so we felt like that we would, put that information forth to the TSSAA, and they were in favor, of us giving it a shot. And we're going to do a lot of research on it and poll our coaches afterwards, because, I know in Memphis last summer we played roughly around 254 games in 3 days. And so that's, really that's like playing a whole week of games, during the regular season. So it gives us a really good gauge, I think, of what we can do with the shot clock or without it, and moving forward. And then also, we're going to be doing a girls camp this year over at Lebanon. That's also sanctioned by the NCAA for recruiting now. And so we're going to have not only the boys event in Memphis, but we're going to have the girls event here in Middle Tennessee. So we'll have we feel like that we're going to have about 200 different schools that'll be in those events. And, just looking at our numbers right now, it's looking more and more like that. So I think that'll give us a great gauge to go by. And then when we go back to the TSSAA in August, we'll have some hard data for them, and really they're not going to be out anything. We're going to be doing everything for them, and just and going and getting the shot clocks, setting them up, the whole 9 yards.
Who's going to run them at your camp? You'll have officials, I assume.
We always have certified officials. A lot of high school and college officials that will be there. And so that's one thing that we've got to figure out is who are we going to have running those on each floor, because I know in Memphis we're going to run about 8 or 9 floors there, and we'll do the same in Lebanon. So that'll be a daunting task, to say the least, but I think it's something we can work out rather easily.
Bruce SLATTEN, Executive Director of the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee, BCAT. joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Bruce, I got questions. I got
you always have questions, Mo.
Well, how long? What are we talking? We're talking 24 seconds? We're talking 30, 35, 45, 35.
Yeah. And that was set by the National Federation about 2 years ago when they did not sanction the shot clock, but what they said was they will let each state experiment on their own. And I want to say that right now we have about 16 associations around the country that are using the shot clock, including Georgia and Arkansas, that border Tennessee. So we're getting a lot of information from those two states for sure.
So they are actually using it in regular season. Well,
correct.
In season play.
Correct. And tournament play.
Okay. Yeah.
What kind of feedback are you getting?
Most of the coaches that were against it have found out that they like it, and it has not impacted the game that much. That's the main thing that we're getting, and most of the coaches have said that they feel like that it makes the game easier and flow better. And like I said, that's what we're getting from other states. Now that may not be the case in Tennessee, because I know how our coaches are sometimes. They're a little fickle on things, and but I think it's it to me. And I will say this: I heard this from a coach in Georgia that said that he really felt like that it made him a better coach. And I said, well, why is that? He said, well, because I'm always having to figure out, if I've got a little less talented team than the team I'm playing, I've got to figure out a way to make them slow down and burn shot clock. So that may be that I'm going to press, to get the ball up the court, and then we're going to jump into a zone, and then right at the the last 10 or 12 seconds we go man to man, or vice versa. So they've said that it actually makes them a better coach, because they have to think of better, more efficient ways to to work the game plan. And so I'd never really thought about it that way, but as I watch more and more college games, I do believe that's that is true.
Bruce, the next basketball game I coach will be my first. So that said,
you've been in the gym a lot. I know that, Maurice.
I have. I've seen a game or two. I've not coached one. I've not had to come up with a game plan. But if I want you to shoot the ball, why don't I come out and defend you?
Exactly. And I think that the better you teach your team to defend, the easier it is against the shot clock to help, to make it to your advantage.
This is a thing, Bruce, that once you don't put this genie back in the bottle, right? I mean, once you institute the shot clock, then you've got the shot clock. You're not going to, kind of like these 4 classes, you're not going to come back and say, yeah, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. Let's vote the shot clock out. It's not going away once it comes, is it?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it would or wouldn't. That would be, completely out of my hands for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think that once, it's like anything else, once you start playing with it and you get accustomed to it, and you make adjustments as a coach, you're going to figure out ways to have success. And I think that's, I don't. It's just like you said with the classification issue. I don't think that you're going to see that go away. I think you're going to, so I would think that the shot clock, if it does come to fruition, that it's going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And and coaches are going to have to, they're going to have to look at it and say, okay, here's how I got to play. Because coaches share things with each other all the time. We steal and rob from each other all the time about ideas, and so they're going to talk and they're going to figure out ways to succeed with this thing. And again, we're just using this for our summer camps to get feedback on seeing if it is something that the TSSAA wants, in the future. and our coaches and administrators want. And the two, and kind of going to this, the two biggest things that we have seen that's concerning for the schools is the cost of the shot clock and somebody qualified to run it. And that's the two biggest drawbacks. It's not that we don't think that we can compete with the elite teams in the state. It's really those two things, and especially in your rural area schools and your city schools that don't have maybe the crowd support of other places. So that's the biggest concern that we've seen. And I think it's just like anything else. You've got to teach people to run the shot clock, and it's sometimes it's hard in high school to get a quality clock operator as it is today. So you're adding somebody else up there, and one thing that we've suggested is that we can have the clock operators at the colleges around the state, because we have so many colleges and schools, higher level schools that are playing with the shot clock, that can come in and tutor all the schools in their area and the potential people to work the shot clock. And so we feel like that is something that is going to go over once if and when it is put in and we're using it during the season.
So when this thing comes to a vote, Bruce, among the schools, because again, you've kind of got, like you said, you've kind of got two different trains of thought. You've got coaches whose primary concern is how it impacts the game, how it impacts the way the game is played. And then you've got administrators whose primary concern is, installation and execution, running the clock. I mean,
correct.
How do you decide, because I could see those two different trains of thought, coming to a head, and being 70-30 the other way in an administrative poll. I guess that's going to come down to the individual school and how they hash that out. But I mean,
correct.
Is that a concern?
Well, I think it is. No question about it. I know just running the numbers right now, we've been, since the vote on Wednesday to allow us to use the clock this summer, we've been in touch with two providers, that install shot clocks, and so they've told us that generally the base shot clock, the basic that you would want or would have to have, would be about $4,000. And anywhere
now,
from
is that $4,000 per gym or $4,000 per clock? Because you got to have two, right?
Per gym. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Be about $4,000 to $5,000 for the just the standard model. And if you want to go to a higher level model, obviously it's going to be a little bit higher. Now, is
that just the clock, or is that the install?
That is everything. That is the install, the clock, the
control board,
the control board, everything to install that. The company will come and do that and set it all up for you, and they'll train whoever at the school to work it. So
now, if you are say Williamson County and you've got 9 schools, you're going to get a deal cut, right?
I would think so. We've had,
and if you're Moore County and you've got 1 school,
you're paying $5,000.
You could be, yeah. Well, I know one of the companies that we talked with, and I'm not gonna. This is all in the preliminary stages, but they're wanting to provide us the shot clocks for the summer, and then they're going to, they want to give a deal to the schools if it comes to fruition in Tennessee. And I know they did the same thing in some other states. So I think that when as just as with anything, when the competition starts going, and hey, they see that we have 375 some odd schools around the state, then we're looking at somebody's going to come in and give us a good deal. You'd think. So because you're talking about a lot of money, and all these, all those will come with guarantees of whatever they decide, to put on them. So I just, I think that with the cost of that amount of cost, I don't want to downplay $4,000 or $5,000, but that's I always had more money in my account than that I could have installed it on my own if I wanted to with our program money. So I think that when you're looking at the boys and the girls programs around the state, that's really not that expensive, and I think that's been the biggest drawback of what most people have said is just the cost, but I don't see that being completely outrageous. Now, I know what Georgia did. They were on, I think, a 4-year plan where they said, okay, by the 2022-23 school year, we're playing with them in the tournament, regular season, the whole thing. I think Arkansas was on a 3-year plan, and they incrementally used it throughout the season leading up to that year, and then they were able to, that allowed the schools to be able to fund it the way they needed to do it, and not have that one lump sum coming out because they just said, hey, we're going to do it next year. We got to have it installed by next year. That gave them some time, to work on it and see what the best plan, for that school was. And I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Arkansas maybe started with the higher classifications, and they started playing with it and let the higher classes get it, like 5A, 6A, and then they moved down. And so by year 3, the 1A and 2A schools had to have that. So I think that there's plans that you can work on to alleviate the costs for these schools.
Bruce Slatton, Executive Director of the Basketball Coaches Association of Tennessee, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Bruce,
yes, sir.
When you hear talk about the shot clock and, the typical, Joe fan talking about, I don't want to watch this 32-28 ball game and that kind of thing, they are typically talking about boys' games, I guess. Where do your girls' coaches specifically stand, or have you heard anything any differently on the girls' side versus the boys' side?
Well, I think talking with our girls' coaches, because when we did the survey, we did not we left that where it was anonymous, but we only sent the email to our head coaches. So we really didn't know if that was a girls' coach or a boys' coach, which that we probably should have put that in our survey. But talking with our girls basketball committee, which is about 20 coaches from around all parts of the state, they are all in favor of the shot clock. And I know you look at some of these games, 30-28 or 32-30, whatever. You say, well, somebody had to hold the ball. Well, if it was one of my teams, sometimes you didn't score that much, So
we just didn't shoot very well.
Yeah, didn't shoot very well. So some of those games are kind of skewed a little bit. But you look at the women's college game, for instance. There's a lot of low scoring games in the women's game, and and they're using the 30-second shot clock just like the men. And so it's but I know, just talking with most of our girls coaches on the committee, they're all in favor of it. But I think that in my opinion, I think that all of our coaches are going to like it when and if it gets installed.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, now, do I think that there's some other issues that we need to be addressing also? Yes, but I think the shot clock right now is the number one issue.
Well, we may have to get you back on to, go Bruce Slatton Unplugged and see what some of these other issues are.
Oh. And once you're done with that, once you're done with camp this summer, we certainly want to have you back to talk about what some of these coaches have said and what you saw, and also some officials, because I think the officials might have some concerns as well, Just
correct.
The fact that you're adding something else I got to deal with on top of all this other stuff.
Yeah, now we got to deal with shot clock violations.
I'm the
on
uniform
top of
police.
Yep.
I'm the
Well, exactly, and and that's going to be a point of concern, absolutely,
Sure.
because we're right now in an officials crisis around the state in all sports. So, and to add one more responsibility to their job is going to be a difficult thing, and I know that was discussed on Wednesday at the Board of Control meeting. Is how is that going to be affected, and so so I that's going to be an important piece of the puzzle. So we're looking at all that.
Sure. Well, we
Bruce,
appreciate it.
Yeah, but before we let you get out of here, we want to mention the BCAT All-Star Games.
Correct.
Will be held March 25th over at Lebanon High School.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to tell folks about that?
Well, you'll get a chance to see the best players, senior players in the state. We have a game in each classification. So we're going to have about 10 games or 11 games, 12 games, I guess, at Lebanon on Saturday the 25th. We're having our Hall of Fame Court of Honor banquet on the 24th, the night of the 24th, also at Lebanon High School. That is open to the public. We will be honoring 4 Hall of Fame members, new inductees, as well as our kids that are on the all-academic team and the all-star games, and so it's going to be it's going to be a great weekend to celebrate high school basketball across the state. And anybody that wants to check out all of our teams, they are listed on our website at bcathoops.com. And there'll be some more information on the banquet. We also have Women's Basketball Hall of Fame coach Andy Landers from Georgia that is going to be our keynote speaker at the banquet that night. And so we're excited about that. It's the first time that we've had basically an all-star weekend, and so we're excited about that. We've always done the all-star games, but we've decided to add the banquet part, and the kids and their member coaches that from their school can come and attend the banquet for free. So it's we're excited about that and think it's going to be a great event.
I'm going to tell you, if you've never had the opportunity to be in Andy Landers' presence, it is a unique experience.
Absolutely.
He will be, I don't know what they're going to be charging for tickets to the banquet, but he will be worth it. So.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's $10, and that's for the meal and the banquet and everything. And so it's very for that level of entertainment. I don't that's a good $10 investment, I think.
It really is. It really is. So mark March 24th and 25th on your calendars.
Yep.
And if it goes badly, blame Bruce.
Bruce, I'm gonna opt out of that. My phone may be off those 2 days.
Bruce SLATTEN, the executive director of BCAT, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Bruce, get you some sleep before that 9:30 Tennessee Tech UT Martin game tonight, and good luck to Grant. And
I appreciate that.
Hopefully he'll get to throw down a dunk or two to try to catch up to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he would be way ahead of me if he gets one dunk tonight. But no, I'm hoping he has a good game and we can come away with a win and just be excited, man, about it. So we're ready to get over there right now.
Enjoy that. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a short break, very short break, because NUBYJAS WILBORN is standing by, and we'll talk UT Auburn right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton, and we are getting you ready for the weekend of sports. Real quick, Mo, while we're in high school, Northeast Football Coach Claude Townsend has been relieved of his duties after an investigation concluded he was involved in inappropriate actions and communications on school grounds, although they did not involve a student or anything like that. It was simply inappropriate actions and communications while on school grounds. So,
wow,
there you go.
Okay. Also, Nelson Smotherman, longtime Murfreesboro area TSSAA historian, dies at 89, as reported by Cecil Joyce of the Daily News Journal over in Murfreesboro.
I'm going to be very sad in the softball press box this year without Nelson.
He will be missed.
He was a staple in that press box and a wealth of knowledge.
He was an avid sports fan, particularly of softball, and he was a mainstay at Oakland High games during the past 40-plus years. The Lady Patriots Field is named in his honor. One of the most knowledgeable historians of high school sports history, not just in Rutherford County, but statewide. Kept stats at state football, basketball, softball, and baseball events for more than 60 years.
Yep.
So,
that press box will be a little less bright at Spring Fling this year. So, all right, Mo, we got to get to it because we never want to not get to it.
Oh, no. This guy, speaking of worth the price of admission.
The price of admission, absolutely. NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com joining us now to talk a little bit about this weekend Auburn, Tennessee basketball game.
First off, we appreciate your patience.
Yes.
Because we're
all good, man. Good to see you guys, man, as always.
Good to see you as well, man. So, again, Auburn, Tennessee, 11 tomorrow? Is that right?
Is it?
Isn't it early?
Is it early tomorrow? I don't think it is.
I just added early. I think it is. Let's see. I think it is an early start, if I remember correctly.
I thought that's what we read in the rundown.
Listen, I don't remember. 1 o'clock.
1. Oh, my bad.
1,
okay.
yeah.
Cool.
That's right, because it moved up to 1. It wasn't. That's right. It moved up to 1. Forgive me, guys. I've been a little bit preoccupied this week, unfortunately, with some other family issues. But, Yeah, it was a night game. They moved it up to 1 for TV and everything. So it should be interesting. I mean, listen, this is the Auburn team that, I mean, you look at their last 5 or 6 games, they've only really 1-1 against Ole Miss, which is probably closer than it should have been. They were up big in that game. Ole Miss made a little comeback. Auburn was and even took a lead. I mean, Auburn had a double-digit lead in the second half, which, by the way, talking about college basketball and high school basketball, like, we need to get boys basketball on quarters. And, you know, anyway, we'll go there another day. Including college basketball needs to be on quarters. All right, so anyway, that being said, you're in the second half, about 15 minutes left with, I think, 14-point lead. Ole Miss takes a 5-point lead, and Auburn has to pull it out. We saw what happened against Alabama, where they're a team who, number 1 team in the country, Auburn blitzed them. And if you look at both games, Auburn led over 60 minutes in both games combined and lost them both, you know. And just really unfortunate situations for an Auburn team. You lose 2 against Texas A&M. You probably should split one of those, maybe even won both of those. You get blitzed in Kentucky. I mean, just a really tough stretch, a lot of adversity for a team that's, again, from the beginning, you know, when we came on here at the start of the season, what did I say? Hey, this is a team that is replacing 2 lottery picks. And Walker Kessler is now a dark horse candidate, as dark as he can be, as a rookie of the year in the NBA.
Nice.
Okay? I mean, one of the guys who was leading the league in blocks as a rookie, who has become a viable solution. And, you know, I don't know how many people here know about the Utah Jazz, but they lost Rudy Gobert, and one could argue Walker Kessler has been a very solid replacement for Rudy Gobert, okay? As a 19-year-old, imagine what he would be doing if he came to Auburn for a second year. Imagine what Jabari Smith would be doing. Maybe Jabari Smith, based on what's going on in Houston, might wish he would have stayed at Auburn a little bit longer. I mean, obviously, bank account's a little bit more full with the Houston Rockets, but you get what I'm saying, you know? And you miss 2 guys like that, okay? You're going to have a hard time replacing them. KD Johnson as a point guard has been solid off the bench. Wendell Green Jr. at times has been effective. His height limits him at times. Janai Broome has been one of the better players in the SEC as far as big men, but he ain't Walker Kessler. You know, Jalen Williams has shown himself to be, when he's on, he can be the best player on the court. When he's not, it can be tough. And they just haven't had that same thing. The freshman class who came in, Chance Westry hasn't really produced. He's been injured. And Johan Traore hasn't really produced. So you look at it all, it's been a tough situation.
How surprised are you that this team seems, and maybe it's just the schedule, just in the way that it's worked itself out, but they don't seem to be improving as the year has gone on. They seem to be regressing and finding themselves working their way out of the tournament rather than in.
I mean, it's just a byproduct of the schedule. The schedule got real. I mean, you know, you look at having to go up to Tennessee. I mean, that's a tough place to play, obviously, you guys know. I mean, having to go to Kentucky, having to go to Tuscaloosa, and having Alabama come in. Texas A&M having to go out there, that was a tough game. I mean, you look at it, once the second half of the season hit, they didn't have any breaks, man. I mean, and I can't say they're not improving. Like Trey Donaldson, the freshman point guard, has gotten better. You look at Dylan Cardwell. You go on down this roster, guys have gotten better. It's just the competition's better. Oh, and then by the way, you don't have that 6'10", you know, jump shooter named Jabari Smith anymore. Or you don't have Walker Kessler, who can get you 9 or 10 blocks in a game and 12 rebounds. You're playing a different ball game. Now, give them credit. They're tough on defense. If you look at what they did against Alabama.
Sure.
If you look at what they did against, really, Alabama twice. You look at what they did in the win against
Tennessee.
Even Tennessee, as I'm saying, like, held Tennessee to one of his lowest scores outputs. Like, could Auburn very well win the game against Tennessee tomorrow? Sure. I mean, the jungle's going to be jungling, and it's going to be an intense environment, and they're going to play hard. I mean, they're still fighting, man. It's just, hey, man, the SEC's real. And unfortunately, you lost guys and you didn't replace them.
NUBYJAS WILBORN of AL.com joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. NUBYJAS, Chris has mentioned it once or twice on the show, and as I think about it, does Alabama break people? Alabama basketball? Because, I mean, when you look at what teams do after they play Alabama, win or lose, it doesn't tend to be pretty. And so I'm wondering if that's going to work in Tennessee's favor tomorrow.
I mean, I say Alabama's tough team to play, man. I mean, look, they're going to make you stress. They're going to make you earn it. And now we could get into the conversation as to if Brandon Miller should be playing basketball or not. Okay, we could do that conversation. I think it's a conversation worth having, but the reality is he's playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pretty good at it. Really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why that they're willing to let him play, despite some very serious allegations that he is involved in, you know. Now, fortunately, he's not an assist leader, you know, because you know what an assist is, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you pass,
yeah,
he doesn't do that very often.
Yeah, to a shooter.
But you know, I digress.
You do. Yes. Let's refocus, NUBYJAS.
So we're just saying, you know, listen, man, seriously, that is a very unfortunate situation where a young woman died over what seems to be some malarkey, quite frankly. And the FCC would get on if I was calling what it really is. Okay?
We don't have SEC issues, so you're good.
All right. Yeah, some BS. We know it. But my point is, you know, whether he should or shouldn't be playing basketball, you know, is a whole other conversation, but he is, and he's really good at it. And they have a lot of guys who are really good at it. And they're a good ball club, well coached. You know, thankfully the coach doesn't have to worry about commenting too much. He coaches basketball, and they're good. They could very well win a national championship. They might have to give it back. But right now, today, they're a team that could, you know, they're one of the teams that can beat you twice. And that very well could have an impact on an Auburn team playing a Tennessee team, even though one of their better players got injured last week or last ball game.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect this game to be a dogfight. I mean, I expect it to be very close, very hotly contested for an Auburn team that's desperate.
Well, and see, that's the thing. Auburn's got to win at this point, or they're going to have to win a couple games in the tournament. But they've got to win soon. And secondly, these two teams played, let's face it, the basketball was horrible the last time.
These shots
it
and
was
bricks and
awful. It's got to be better this time, one would think. So hopefully,
maybe.
Well, but it's a product of
these teams'
defenses. You said that.
Auburn wants to play. Yeah, Auburn wants to muck it up. They want it to be dirty. They want it to be gritty. I mean, I don't think Auburn can win a pretty game. I mean, I just don't. This season, I don't. Last year, yeah, sure, with Jabari and Walker, yeah, they could win pretty. This Auburn team, they're going to win a game. They ain't going to be pretty unless it's against like a Little Sisters or the poor type situation. Outside of that, or I don't know if that's your, you know what I'm saying, correct anymore. My apologies, ladies. You know, a lesser opponent. Be careful with that. But no, I'm just saying if they're not playing somebody who's an inferior opponent, they ain't going to win pretty, man. They got to get ugly. They got to get in the mud to do it. And Tennessee's an old mudslinging team as well. Even though I'd say they're the better talented team, but Tennessee plays that rock fight kind of style. And
are they now without Zakai Ziegler? I think that's a question that has to.
Well, and that's a fair one, and that could be playing Auburn team. I just say this is going to be another dog, ugly, you know, one of those games you could only, you know, this game that has a face that only a mother can love, you know, and. Sure. I think that's just what it's going to look like. It's just going to be ugly, and Auburn might win it because it's at home, and they need to win it. They're going to play hard. Bruce is going to throw everything he can at them. Mm-hmm. You know, let's be real. There's still not a lot of love lost between Bruce Pearl and the University of Tennessee based upon his departure and everything else. He would love to spoil one for them, and I'm sure they'd love to spoil some things for him.
Sure. I think this is going to be a fantastic basketball game as far as competitiveness. Now, it may be the ugliest game that we've seen since the last time these two teams played. It very well may be, but 1 o'clock on ESPN, you're definitely going to want to tune in and watch it. Also, NUBYJAS, before we get you out of here, we do want to say that we are thinking about you. You have been in our thoughts for a week or so, and we appreciate you taking some time with us today in the midst of that. But we love you, man, and we'll keep thinking about you through it all.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate just getting to talk some ball, man, other than some of the other things I've been having to deal with. And, man, I always love y'all guys, man.
Appreciate you, boss.
Hey, thank you.
All right, real quick, before we get out of here, we got about 5 minutes left and want to talk a little bit about two things. Number one, Auburn, bring that slide up you got, Justin, is currently a 10 seed in the tournament. They are slated also moving from the last four in to a solid 10 seed is Mississippi State via Projection Sports. And I mentioned that to them earlier today. I said, that's interesting. He said, win 2 games right now in a row, and you're off the bubble in this economy. So I think that's interesting. But, yeah, Auburn is playing for its life right now because once you go past 10, you're potential play-in game because there are 6 11 seeds. And after that, very rarely do at-large teams get a seed higher than 11. So you're close to the bubble. So Auburn's they're going to have to win, and I'm interested where does he have them right now?
Auburn is a number 11. I saw it just now, and then you moved it. Oh, they are in the Midwest. They're number 11 in the Midwest, playing Iowa State.
Yeah,
according to Projection
like
Sports.
An eye test.
So they've moved even from 10 to 11 now. I guess Mississippi State probably took that 10 spot. So that right there tells you Auburn's in their last 6 spots.
This is interesting. Tennessee has been in Greensboro all along.
He messed it up. It's flip them. So Tennessee would be in Greensboro. UConn would be in Albany.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
The graphics messed up, or
no? Well, he just forgot to swap them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So yeah, Tennessee would be in Greensboro with Virginia, and Albany would have UConn, and Duke would have to travel. They wouldn't be in Greensboro.
Then you carry the
But that's yes, we all kind of pointed that out to him, and he was like, "No, my bad, I messed up." So Tennessee would go to Greensboro, not Albany. Otherwise, that would be incredibly interesting that those two teams would have to go opposite one another.
Yeah. Passing each other
as they go by.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and real quick, wanted to mention, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but I teased it earlier, so I got to kind of tell you. Conference USA and the Western Athletic Conference,
the
WAC, could be announcing a scheduling partnership soon, according to Brett McMurphy of Stadium, and he's got, what else is it called? I forget. But either way, more trips out west. Is that really what we want to do?
Well, I guess it makes Texas El Paso a little less,
and New Mexico
bothersome.
State. Yeah. At least it helps those teams out, but it doesn't do anything for Jacksonville State and Liberty, who are on the easternmost side of your conference. It just doesn't, that to me doesn't make a lot of sense. Kennesaw State, when they looked like they're going to be moving to Conference USA, and they've got to go to, I don't even know who's in the WAC, by the way.
Not a fantastic name for a conference.
Sam Houston, Stephen F. Austin, California Baptist, Southern Utah, Grand Canyon, Tarleton, those teams. None of those teams make me say, okay, that's really going to help my net ranking. Or so I don't.
Idaho and Seattle.
I don't love it.
This is for football.
This is basketball.
This is
basketball, not football.
Okay. So for men's basketball, Abilene Christian, California Baptist, Grand Canyon, Bryce Drew, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State, Seattle, Stephen F., Tarleton State, like you said, Texas, Rio Grande Valley, Texas Arlington, Utah Tech, and Utah Valley. So
Utah Valley right now 27-3, number one in the league with a 14-3
coached by
record.
former Laker Mark Madsden.
That's correct. How about
That's
that?
interesting.
Yeah, that's about the only thing interesting.
Tarleton State coached by Billy Gillespie.
That's,
by the way, Billy Gillespie would have been the coach of the team that Columbia State would have played in the 20 Nationals. Wow. He was at Ranger at that point.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway,
so Conference USA and the WAC could have a scheduling partnership. We don't know. We'll let you know when it becomes official, if it becomes official. But yeah, have a great weekend. We appreciate you guys being with us. Thanks to obviously Bruce Slatton and Tobias Wilbur for joining us. It was a fantastic Friday. Hope you guys got some great information out of those two guys. I know you did. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, go back and watch it. Check out the podcast as well. But until we see you next time, Mo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.